Giving away equity to employees and service providers in your small business or startup is a great way to align your service providers with you, the owner, and the goals of the business. However, issuing equity is not a simple thing to do and to be compliant when doing. So I totally recommend you work with an accountant to do it right. However, it does change based on the entity type you are, whether you're a partnership, an S corporation, C corporation, single member LLC. Can't offer equity if you're a single member LLC. There's different types of equity awards, different ways you can do it. You might need a stock plan. So there's all sorts of things that you need to consider if you do this. But as I've seen with small businesses that offer equity, they have a better buy-in from their employees or other people who provide services to them when they have equity. Personally, I have one of my clients that's a C corporation, and I've received some founders equity when they started up. And I can easily say that this totally makes me work differently. They pay me less cash than my typical client would, and I do a lot more for them. So what they're getting is lower cash expense and a higher buy-in for me. And I actually really believe in that business, and I think it's going to be huge one day. So, it takes away, not necessarily takes away leverage from me, but it makes me really incentivized to help the business, to stick with them, help them, pay less cash, because I am a small owner as well. Now, it's a very small percent compared to the owners, but if the business does execute how it can and there's an exit, one day I know that there is that potential for me, right? So that is what offering equity to employees and service providers does. Even if it's a little delusional on my end to feel like a business I'm involved in could have a $100 million exit, it's totally possible. So I'm sticking with them and I'm letting them pay me less. And I am working harder, doing more, treating it like I'm a founder when, I'm a small, very small sliver of an owner. So how I'm explaining it, how it's changed things for me has made me, understand the significance and the importance of issuing equity to your employees. Also, equity generally has vesting schedules, meaning the employee has to stick with the company for a certain amount of time to actually get the stock. So where you may feel like you're giving away big chunks of equity or your company over time, even just 1% can vest over 4 years. So if it's not the right fit with you and the employee, they can be terminated, and their equity goes back to the company, potentially depending on the vesting rules and the award type you did. So equity can be a great option to incentivize employees and to compensate employees. It is much, much more complex than cash compensation. So absolutely work with an accountant, fractional CFO, CPA, whatever, when you're issuing these plans, and make sure you work with someone who's done it before, because it's a great tool, but it's not to be done off the cuff.